Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. We are back at Never Surrender Ship Evolution, and I think I have a decent idea of the next step. Alright, so we have a bit of an exoskeleton here, and it's looking decent, it's not too bad. We're gonna take some time to weld it up sooner or later, not quite so quickly. I may need to build either this ship to have some welders in front, but I also need the drills. So I may just leave it as is and maybe build a small grid ship if necessary to kind of weld up everything. But for the most part, we have a decent exoskeleton from the previous episode. And it's connected in two ways. One is with merge blocks right over here. Or the idea is to have the merge blocks right over here that are connected. And we have two connector points right over here as well, which may or may not be a good idea. A better idea may actually be connected through here and try to get rid of one of these thrusters if possible. So that there's a few things to consider in that front. I did have a decent idea of how I can add more thrusters, more turrets, more Gatlins, all those different things. And that would be to add somewhat of an additional wing system. Yes, I know, we're doing wings over wings over wings, but I've actually been playing a bit of Everspace 2, and I got inspiration from some of the ships that they have available. And also, if you do want to see a playthrough of Everspace 2 through my view, leave a comment down below and we'll make that happen. But for now, I think I'm going to take the inspiration from Everspace 2 and build a similar style in terms of the wings. So I'm thinking if we need to, we have to add a separate merge point somewhere down the line here, so when we connect to it, we can connect. But I think we can add somewhat of a wing system right over here and kind of have it slope downwards a bit. So we can easily do it from here because we have the space for it. And I think we could do it with more of the regular slopes like this. So we have a couple points where we can do that. So we're going to add it like this. Add the regular blocks, more slopes this way. And just bring it down a bit, just like that. And from here is where we can add the additional wing system, or well, maybe not too low. Actually, I think this is a little too low. Right around here is where we can kind of keep it. So we can build it out a little bit here. It's going to require a lot of materials, obviously, but it is what it is, and we can make this as thick as necessary. So maybe not that block this time around. So this is just an example, and we might change it up a little bit just to make it look a little better, but this is kind of the idea I'm thinking, where it extends out a little bit this way, and we can make this part a little bit like a tube like thing, so we can add more thrust and everything like that as well. So we can make this cleaner too, and instead of adding it like this, we could almost took that apart. We could just do it kind of like this. Yeah, I think we have to add it like this, so that way it looks a little bit on the kind of cleaner side, if anything. Maybe I should have just brought it down a little bit more actually, but yeah, I think we need to bring it down a little bit more. It's not exactly what I was going for or thinking of, but it's getting close. So I think we need to bring it down maybe one more just to get that right there. And I guess we could just do it this way, if anything. Yeah, and that should be okay. Yeah, there we go. That should be alright. And then from here, we'll bring it this low for now. And then here we can add a bit of space or room to grow. How's that look? It looks okay. And here might not be long enough, but it should be decent. And then from here is pretty much where I want to kind of build it out some more. So we can just build out the shell of it first. So maybe 1, 2, and 3 would be okay. And here we can do the same thing, 1, 2, and 3. Height. Now I'm thinking if I had to add ion thrust, we can do it this way. So 2 height should be fine. Yeah, I think 2 height should be fine. So we're gonna add these here, like so. And then we just get extra room, basically, which is awesome. So here we can add a little bit more design to it, of course. Do a little bit of slope here, if anything. And we can also slope this back upwards if we need to, for no reason at all. But we can just do it this way as well, just to add some more design to it. And there we go. It's probably not necessary, but that looks decent. And here we can probably slope it as well. We could do a slower slope here if you want to, but I think I'm going to keep it with this kind of slope here. Alright, so the width wise, we have 5 odd numbers, which is good. Usually a good thing to have odd numbers in most cases. And in that case, we can add a thruster point right here. We could add even a rail gun right in front here, or multiple rail guns. So we have space to put in a whole bunch of them lined up right up front if we really wanted to. So that's kind of the idea, and let's see how we could build that out. But first, I think I'm gonna run out of oxygen very soon, so let me just charge up. All right, we're all charged up, and this is kind of what I'm thinking of. And of course, this thing is gonna reach out really far towards the back. So we can just build it out all the way down. Not sure exactly how far, but further than our current ship. And that's not even further than our current ship still. Wow. So yeah, this is gonna take a lot of materials to build this whole entire thing out. But I think this is the design I'm gonna go with right here. And this is all heavy armor, so it's gonna be a heavy ship, or heavy exoskeleton kind of thing. Yeah, it's gonna be heavy. So we do need to find another point of contact for merge. And I'm thinking it might be right back here or something like that. So we could do probably a merge with a piston and all that stuff. That's a possibility. I mean, at this rate, in terms of welding everything, probably just need a bit of a time lapse to make things viewable quicker. I mean, you probably don't want to see me weld everything up right here, do you? I mean, you might, potentially. But yeah, so this is what it's turning out to be. And I think I like it. It's not terrible. It's not the greatest, obviously, but it's close. It's close to kind of what I wanted it to kind of look like. Alright, so we leave it like that for the time being. Leave it open a little bit from there, and alright, so not sure what happened with my sound or my mic. So as you can hear, there was a bit of static towards the end every time I said something. Not sure what caused it, but it happened. So unfortunately, we got to scratch about an hour worth of conversation building out the exoskeleton of the ship evolution, or the battle ready armor for the respawn pod or respawn ship that we evolved it from. So just to walk it through a bit, it's going to be a bit of a shorter video because of the audio problems that occurred during post for whatever reason. So yeah, a bit of what I did was basically build out the wings or the buoys of the ship right here, added some stability points or connecting points right over here, on 2 points there, and then also in the middle part connected to that existing piece that we built out initially. We also put in place a conveyor system that links inside into the buoys or the wings or whatever you want to call it. Let's call it buoys for now. And we have a piston system with a connector. So it connects into the connector that we just created on the side of the ship that is connected to a refinery and everything else that's inside the cargo ship itself. So that's the basics of what we did with it, and then we slowly built out all the little connecting points, everything like that, extended the buoy as far as possible, and in the inside, ignoring the thrusters for now, this is the connector or conveyor connected to that connector on the outside in the piston. So now we have room to play around with all the connection points, where we could put a connector here, we could tube it back here or plumb it back here, and so forth. So then that way we can add a bunch of Gatlins, turrets, whatever we want to right outside as a connection point, like right here or right here or whatever the case is, or even on the side of the ship itself or the exoskeleton. Gives the ability to do a lot more than what we initially planned and just doing a pretty tight enclosed shell, which doesn't really offer a lot of room for plumbing and connector points and things like that. So this design is looking pretty good as is. It's a bit of a brick, but we can always alter it just a little bit more as we go. But this is just the basics of it, and it took a while to actually build this out with some talking points at the same time, but eventually we just did it all on one side and then we had to mimic it on the other side, which took some time. After that, basically we added the thruster points. So we have a front forward thruster, and with the front forward thruster we added a pair of rail guns here. So 4 total, 2 on each side. We add a thruster going upwards down here. We might move this one. I just did it for placement purpose for now to see how it looks. And there's one back here as well. And then we have the forward thrusting right here. Don't know what to add on the side. We put more thrusters if anything, if necessary. And of course we have 2 large side ion thrusters as well. And lastly, actually, we doubled up the thrusters going downwards right there. All these were just kind of like temporary placements, nothing exact at this point. We just want to see what that looks like in terms of adding all these thrusters. Of course, some of it looks kind of odd. I feel like we should add the thruster, probably a downward thrust right here, downward thrust right here would be ideal more than what it is now. But like I said, that was just a placement just to see what it looks like, because it's gonna be a while till I actually weld up everything and we still need to design it out some more as well. So the top piece now, if we're gonna go with just mostly down here, we can kind of negate all this top building piece because it's a little too tall for my liking, but at the same time we could keep it as well. So I'm not sure what to do with that right this moment, but today we just ended up building out this buoy system for the ship that's going to be able to carry a whole bunch more in terms of being battle ready. Also, what we can do is put some connector points right over here, right in the back or somewhere next on the buoy, so we can actually have maybe drones, maybe a small welding ship, which we pretty much will need in order to build out this whole entire thing, or weld it out, because each steel plate or steel block here cost 50 metal grids and 150 steel plates. So to give you an example of how I'm going to do that, or how it would really suck doing this by hand, is if I grabbed a heavy armor block as we just did there, we can't even carry all the materials for it. So we got 150 steel plates, but we only picked up 30 metal grids. So that is gonna take forever just to hand weld out the whole entire thing. And I hope we have enough materials as well to make this whole thing happen. So I think what I'm gonna do is one of two things eventually. One is to make this modular, so we can switch from drill system to a welding system, a grinding system, or whatever case may be. I did notice that I kind of destroyed this thing right here, but we'll gotta grab a construction component. But if we can make it modular, it'll make it a little bit easier, so we can switch from grinder, welder, drill, and then we can carry a whole bunch of material so we can weld up the whole entire battle ready armor or exoskeleton. So that's plan one, or option one. Option two is make a smaller cargo ship or welding ship, which has like large cargo containers, but like several of them. A smaller one so it's easier to maneuver. This big one to maneuver and cover all this ground may be a little tough. So maybe a smaller one will work a little bit better. I don't know. That's kind of the plan. I think we can make a small footprint one based on like batteries and stuff like that, because we have reactors, uranium for reactors and stuff like that. So we want to make something a little bit more mobile, something we like move around really quickly. I don't know yet. Haven't been really set everything in stone just yet in terms of using this thing or creating a new one. If we create a new one, obviously we can store it somewhere onto the buoys or onto the ship somewhere and make it hidden as a small ship. So that's kind of like the options there, but definitely not going to be able to hand weld this. It's almost impossible. Another idea would probably make a station that has all the welding points, and I can just maneuver this whole ship around it to weld up what we can weld up. That sounds dumb, and it is dumb, but that's just a random third option there. But yeah, other than the buoy system that we added, we started construction of the bottom piece of the exoskeleton. Actually, not much at all going on here, as you can see. Just a little bit of additional support system, but we could build around it pretty easily down here because there's not a lot of downward thrust that's going to be getting in the way. So we could definitely add more weapons down here too if we need to. So it's an idea. So of course we're going to add a lot of weapons on top, bottom, and sides so that we don't forget all our grounds, because what if we are maneuvering in the wrong way, or the drone flies behind us or underneath us? We want some protection there as well. So try to protect all sides and not have too much weak points there. Another idea that some of you had mentioned is to make it big enough to add some welders to make it like a self-repair system. And yeah, we could definitely do that at some point in time, especially to have the welders pointed kind of onto some of the turrets and stuff like that. So when those things get shot down, at least it welds up. I do recall doing that with a different ship once before, and it just didn't work out exactly how I wanted to work out. I forget exactly why, but there is a bit of a problem there. And hopefully it's not a problem here, and that's been fixed in the meantime, but it's a while. It was actually during the space survival adventure that I did with that kind of bricked out ship that I added welders, but it didn't really work out very, very well. So with the buoy arms here, we are good to go. It kind of mimics this kind of white tubular piece here. I really don't like how tall it is though. That's my biggest gripe about this whole entire build. I wanted the exoskeleton to be kind of closer and tighter height wise, but if we don't make it tall enough, we're not going to have enough space for conveyors, plumbing, and all that stuff. But I feel like we could still make it lower, have that exoskeleton as well, and maybe do the same kind of piston plumbing system right like this onto one of these tubular pieces. I like the fact if I were to expose any of the original ship, it would probably be this top piece, the plumbing pipes, because it looks like a skeleton, or at least gives that kind of effect. So it would be nice to do that eventually, but of course having it exposed is probably not an ideal thing to do, because if it gets shot down, it's not going to be good whatsoever. Alright, so while we're at it, since we lost a lot of footage, or usable footage, let's add in our little bit of a timing system to close our doors every time we open it. We need to find a good spot for this. We could hide it in one of the spots or holes over here, probably. Yeah, we can hide it somewhere around here. I'm just gonna throw it. Ooh, is that a good spot right here? So this is the spot that got closed out because of the plumbing, actually, and I can't even get around it, huh? That's not good. So we gotta find a kind of a new way to get around that way. I think we could just do that. Yeah, we could do something like that, if anything. We'll leave it open for now. We're just gonna throw in the timing block right here, and just to balance it out, we'll just throw in there too for fun. Unnecessary to have two at this point, but why not, I guess. Alright, so we're just gonna make a timing block right here. Alright, so we could do one of two ways. Set up the action, put all the doors there, but why do that when we can just type in door and select the doors that we need. Let's get rid of these doors, and of course we group this as doors. Or at least MS doors is the main ship doors. Alright, so that's saved as a group. We're gonna set up the action. Oh, we did need two actually, so that works out. Okay, so we set up the action right here. Groups. Where's our doors? Right here. And we're gonna do close. Where's close? Close. So that toggles all our doors to close when it's triggered or starts. So we probably want to set ourselves some time. So let's just say, I think one of you mentioned in the comments 3 seconds, close, and cycle it. So that works this way. So we set up the action there. Actually, it doesn't really matter here, I think. Let me think. Actually, if we set it up for 3-second delay, no, it doesn't matter for this block. So we also need to build out the other timing block, which is timer block 2. So let me get that all welded up first. So basically our timer block is going to do this. 2 is going to be our cycler, I guess, and 1 is going to be our action taking item, timer block. So timer block 2 is going to be on a 3-second delay, and it's just going to say to trigger now on the timer block, the first one. So that way it closes after 3 seconds, right? And then of course timer block 1, once it's triggered, it's going to close our doors and it's going to tell timer block 2 to start the 3-second countdown. And that's going to constantly cycle and waste batteries, maybe? I don't know. It's not likely not a significant amount of batteries. But here we go. We can just go to block 1, hit trigger now. So that closes all doors, and it should constantly cycle. So 3 seconds, go back to timer block 1 on the right. Or not. And then it goes to the... Did I just mess something up? So it is waiting 3 seconds to trigger, but... Huh. I guess because there's no action to take because everything's closed. Is that why? So if we open this up now, it closed. I open this up again. Okay, so we're going to run into an issue here, actually. So we might run into issue where we hit the 1 second mark and it just closes. So that's a possibility. So I guess if you open this, go through it, open this. Oh, open it. Yep, see, we're gonna run into that issue. So, we could use the script instead, but this kind of works okay. Yeah, we're gonna run into issue where it's just gonna close on the right time, unless I just did this all wrong. Let's see. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, maybe we extend the timer just a little bit more. So we stop this guy. Let's just say 5 seconds. And trigger. So every 5 seconds, it's going to trigger this guy to close doors. And it's going to run this thing again. So this way, with 5 seconds, it gives us more time. Unless we hit that 4th second. That's when it keeps the door... It's going to close the door right in front of your face, I guess. So I think that's going to work out. Right? I mean, we could use sensors instead. I don't know. I've never done it this way, but it's I guess a quick little way of doing it. But yeah, if it does end up closing your face at some point in time, then yeah, that's the problem. I guess the best thing to do is actually find a way to trigger it to start once you open the door or something like that. That could work. But we're not gonna get too involved in that. But yeah, so we can open the hatch door, open this hatch door, and then after a few seconds, it's gonna close, and there we go. Is this the better way? Not really. I do prefer the script. It might work a lot better than that, but with the script, it does create some kind of airlock. So one door closes, the other one opens. And then sometimes if you design your doors incorrectly, it's not going to work out. So you have that kind of issue too. But yeah. So what do you guys think of the exoskeleton so far? It looks like trash because it's just a scaffolding right this moment. But I think once we get everything welded up, we can then design it out a little bit more so it's not as bricked out as it is now. And we can move on from there. So the welding itself is going to take quite the time to do. So maybe I turn it into a time lapse. Maybe I just do it off camera. Everything's up in the air. But I hope you guys enjoyed the build. Again, sorry for the audio. Lost a lot of footage there, or usable footage. I didn't want to make you guys sit through this whole weird echoey thing. But we got what we got. We've done what we've done. And I hope you guys enjoyed. So hit that thumbs up, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.